You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Albaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Albaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Albaugh, along with our producer and engineer, Mr. Aaron Zommers, on the board. It's 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big broadcast here on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Glad to have you along at the world headquarters of Civic Media on State Street at the intersection of State and Fairchild. Overcast skies, some high clouds. We have time to take a little look at the Sam Davidson street cam, Mr. Zommers. Look at that there. People traversing the street, going up State Street right now. Got a little jacket weather. Look, a yellow cab. You don't see those many times very often anymore. A yellow cab making its way on Fairchild there. You see the lovely Overture Center on the right-hand side of the screen there. Leaves, you could just tell here on State Street, a hint of yellow.
Just a hint.
Just a hint in some of those, like they're box elder trees or something like that. But a beautiful day here in Madison, University of Wisconsin-Madison, of course, as well. A great day to get out. All across the state of Wisconsin, Brittany Merlot and our weather team says maybe a chance of rain Friday and Saturday in some parts of the state. But all in all, pretty seasonal, great time to get outside and enjoy the weather. Great to have you along. Big hour this hour at the bottom. Just after the farm news of Pam Yankee, friends of the program, Sean Hanish and Kelly Call, the producer and director and producer, respectively, of Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers. Great film, released last year at Marcus Theaters, and then it's been streaming on Roku and Amazon Prime, I believe Apple Plus TV as well. And now tonight, because a lot of people have told me, not a lot, some people have told me, well, I don't have any of those things. It's too much work. Well, guess what? Most people have a television and rabbit ears or basic cable, and tonight is your night, if you haven't seen it, to see Just a Bit Outside for free after the Brewers game. Gonna talk with Sean and Kelly and tell you how at the bottom of this hour. Don't forget the Brewers over the radio tonight. Great. You can watch on the TV. Turn the volume down and listen to the crew on the radio. You can do so on the Milwaukee Brewers radio network starting at 6:30 with a pregame show. First pitch just after 7 o'clock from Arlington, outside of Dallas. The Rangers hosting the Crew. Rangers, as Clemens said during the break there, Rangers beat the Crew 5-0 last night. You can hear the game, though, tonight on RCE in Richland Center, on WISS in Oshkosh, WCQM in Park Falls, and now on WBZH in beautiful Hayward, Wisconsin. Also going to do a What's Worse for you coming up here in just a couple of minutes as well. But first, at 9 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock, if you would indulge me, and I don't do this too often, I don't think, but one of the great privileges of having a radio program like this is you're able to pay tribute to people that you respect, that you love, and that you know. And if you would allow me just a couple of moments to tell you about my friend Linda Gentes and give my condolences to her husband, Hank Neuenhaus, and her friends and her family. Linda passed away, Linda Gentes, in Richland Center over this past weekend and has now been made public after a brief illness. And for those that have listened and watched this program over the last almost 3 years, you've heard me talk about her. She's been on the program. She was very active. She was a member of the county board up until recently, and she was integral to the University of Wisconsin Richland campus. And no one fought harder to keep that campus open than Linda Gentes. I first got to know her in the late 80s, 1988, when I was a freshman at UW-Richland. fall. She ran the Central American Scholarship Program locally at the campus. And she was in charge of welcoming the students from all over Central America, usually about 16 students every year. And she would welcome them. She would be the liaison to help find local host families for the students, of which our family was one. And then she would help them get registered for classes. She would kind of be their counselor because they came here, most of these students, with little or no English. And so you could imagine how difficult it was to integrate into families as well as being taught college-level classes. And the professors, most of them were not fluent or knew little of any Spanish, so they were being taught at the same pace as native English speakers, and they had to survive. And no one did a better job of mentoring, of counseling, and changing lives, including my own, than Linda Gentes. If it had not been for her commitment to this program, I would never have met my friends from Central America, the person who ended up being the mother of my godsons. I would not have my godsons. Some of my closest friends, people who are family to me. And it was all due to Linda Gentes taking the bull by the horns and saying, I will make this program succeed. I will oversee it. And yes, the late, great Dr. Tom Oates was the dean who helped bring this program here. It was administered through Georgetown. Former Republican U.S. Senator from Wisconsin, you've heard me talk about it before, Bob Kasten was one of the authors in Congress in a bipartisan way that helped fund this program, that brought these kids from poor families in Central America who were brilliant students and brought them to the U.S. in a full ride for 2 years to learn either business or computer science with the requirement that they return home to their families for at least 2 years in Central America. And you can imagine growing up in a town of 5,000 people in southwest Wisconsin, predominantly white at the time, still is, I guess, predominantly white. To bring in folks from Central America was life-changing. And I think that anybody who was a part of this program in my hometown or other places, it was other places in Wisconsin as well, other two-year campuses, Rice Lake, for instance, Marathon, Wausau, Fox Valley, that we as Wisconsinites learned more from them than I think that they ever did from us. And it would have never happened without people like Linda Gentes, and it would have never happened at Richland County without Linda Gentes. And her passing this weekend, rather unexpectedly after a brief illness, is sad to me. And it breaks my heart for her, especially for her husband, Hank Newnhouse, another great guy, another great person. But her legacy, what she is going to be remembered for in my mind is all of the lives, including my own, that were made better because of Linda Gentes and her work. And at the end of the day, what better legacy can any of us have than knowing that we change people's lives for the good and for the better, and it's incumbent upon each of us, I feel, to continue that legacy and pass that along. My heart goes out to my friend Linda Gentes and her family and her husband. Linda Gentes was 76 years old. It's 15 now past the hour of 3 o'clock. This from WISN, Channel 12 in Milwaukee. Marquette University, mourning the loss of two of its student athletes who were killed in a crash on Friday evening. The university says 20-year-old Noah Snyder and 19-year-old Scott Machoud died, and two other teammates were hurt. Milwaukee police arrested a 41-year-old driver of the other vehicle in the crash. A Milwaukee police search warrant obtained by 12 News investigates late on Monday shows the woman admitted to drinking two, quote, steel reserves, unquote, a type of malt liquor before the crash. Jail records and the search warrant show police referred a charge while operating while intoxicated, causing death. As of today, the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office has not charged the woman who was booked into the Milwaukee County Jail on Sunday. WISN Channel 12 News is not naming her. The search warrant states that the woman was driving a Ford Ranger north on 27th Street near St. Paul Avenue at the time of the crash. 6 others were in a silver Jeep Grand Cherokee, according to the search warrant, at the same intersection where the two collided. Snyder and Machoud were both passengers in the car. The search warrant states that the woman, quote, had slurred speech and the odor of intoxicants were emanating from her breath, and later admitted to consuming alcohol prior to the collision, unquote. Police also performed a field sobriety test, which, quote, was positive signs of impairment were observed, unquote. The Marquette president that has opened a panel on education Monday afternoon by addressing the crash, saying, quote, you kind of work your way through it, but you don't expect it to happen, especially when they're so young. He said the most important thing for us right now is to learn and lean into our Catholic Jesuit traditions, to be present for our students, to help them through the healing process. Most folks know no bigger Cardinal and White Badger fan than me, but today I offer my deep condolences, my thoughts, my prayers, my heartfelt wishes for the entire Marquette University community and all of the students and families who lost 2 young men, Noah Snyder and Scott Machoud, who had their whole life ahead of them, who were members of, I believe, the lacrosse, Marquette University lacrosse team. And seemingly through no fault of their own, because seemingly, allegedly, a drunk driver decided to get behind the wheel and ruin 2 young men's lives. It is a sad and unfortunate but good reminder to all of us to think before we get behind the wheel of a vehicle. If you feel buzzed, if you've been doing things other than drinking, all of that can lead to limited ability to drive safely. And when you read stories like this, all it takes is one mistake behind the wheel to affect other people's lives forever. A sad but good reminder to all of us. So I apologize. We started the hour off on a couple of less than upbeat stories, but I think it's really important to take the time to think about these things and remember them as well. We're going to come up here, got to do a little business, as they say. Going to turn the page, come back. We'll do a quick rendition of our What's Worse today. I'll give you a hint. It involves toast. And who doesn't like toast? I do. Particularly with strawberry and rhubarb jam. So we'll come back, talk about toast, wheat toast or white toast, and then stick around because at the bottom of the hour, our old friends of the program, Sean Hanish and Kelly Call, are going to be along and talk about their great film, Just a Bit Outside, and the Brew Crew. What was it like at the Euchre Celebration of Life, being the ones putting together the video content with all the celebrities and family there? We'll ask them that as well. Stick around. The All Ball Show continues for a Tuesday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Welcome back to the Todd Ball Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Now 22 past the hour of 3 o'clock on a Tuesday, September 9th. Going to talk baseball after the bottom of the hour. Brew Crew in action tonight down in Texas. You can hear the pregame show at 6:30. The first pitch just after 7 o'clock. You can watch it for free on many network stations across Wisconsin, and then stick around for just a bit outside the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers. Going to talk with Sean Hanisch and Kelly Call about that after the bottom of the hour. But right now at 23 past, time once again for What's Worse. Let's go. Time once again for What's Worse. Nothing to give away, no prize money involved. Is your chance to have your voice heard on all 10 news, talk, and sports network stations of the Civic Media Radio Network. All right, timely indeed, as our friend, well, we hope he's I'm going to see them tonight. Mike Lucas and Tom Oates as part of the Ideas Fest, which is part of the Capital Times there. Anyway, this is the time of year where you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, sometimes it's the smell of foods that get me, not just the taste. And for me, toast in the morning. So today, on a fall day, the category today is white toast or wheat toast. What's worse, white toast or wheat toast? Now, Zomer says the song that you played is by Bread.
Yeah, it's Make It With You by the band Bread.
I did not know that. I was wondering where it was going. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't know if I should ask.
Normally the lyrics tie in, but this time it's the band.
Yeah, very good. Make It With You by Bread. Well, I mean, it's always fun to make toast together with other people. A toast party. What's worse, white toast or wheat toast? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842, or text us on the Civic Media app. If you don't have it, you could go to your iPhone or Android device, go to your app store, go to the search bar, type in Civic, C-I-V-I-C, Media. It'll pop up. Cute little CM logo. Click on that. Takes less than a minute to download, and it is free. The Civic Media app is what CBS's Gail King calls a deal. The Civic Media app. Get it today. What's worse, white toast or wheat toast? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Let's go to beautiful Mount Horeb. Troy, our good listener, listening on MDX, pardon me, WMDX in Madison. Troy, Mount Horeb. Troy, white toast or wheat toast? What's worse?
Good afternoon, Todd and Zomers. What's worse is white toast.
Any particular reason why?
White bread's just an awful thing, and it's got no value whatsoever.
None, you're saying? Wow. All right.
One of my earliest memories, my grandma and I used to, so this is before, I was like 3 or 4. My grandma and I used to eat breakfast together, and we'd eat toast with peanut butter on it and dip it in our coffee.
Oh, see, that's great. That's great memories, right, of toast?
Yeah. And she always had that, what is it, honey nut?
Honey nut Cheerios?
Toast?
No, toast. Oh,
yeah.
Toast.
Yeah. It's got like a orangish label.
All right, yeah.
So we used to eat that morning.
Sara Lee, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
I know they have honey wheat.
Well, anyway,
maybe.
You had the
I'm
the
not
toast.
sure. I forget.
Yeah. It's
if
a great
I saw
memory.
It again, I'd know it. But yeah.
Right.
So I remember everything but the name of the brand.
But
fine. I remember it was honey wheat.
Right. Well, thanks, Troy. Appreciate you calling in. Appreciate you listening, as always. Have a great day out there.
Have a great day.
Hey, you too out there at beautiful Mount Horeb. What's worse, white toast or wheat toast? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Casper, one of our great engineers listening on MDX, says, I don't have a huge preference. What's worse than both of those things is waking up at 4 a.m. like I did this morning and having a faint smell of burnt toast. I thought I was having a stroke. What? Wow, be careful out there. It says I'm
that
more
is
of
a sign of a stroke.
Really?
Feeling like you're smelling burnt toast. So,
good gosh. Take
careful.
care of yourself, Casper. He says I'm more of an English muffin kind of guy. What's worse, white toast or wheat toast? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Mary, out in Mount Horeb, listening on MDX, says, in case Zomers isn't familiar with the song, I would say white as wheat at least has some nutritional value.
Yeah, she sent us a song called Toast by Haywood Banks. Do you want to listen to a little bit?
Give me a 10 seconds or 15 seconds, sure.
This is a live rendition.
All around the country, coast to coast. People always saying, what do you like most? I don't want to brag. I don't want to boast. I always tell them I like toast.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like toast. I like that. Very good.
Toast!
What's worse, white toast or wheat toast? Matt, one of our great UPS drivers out there, or Matt Middleton, I should say. Wheat is better, as I think white has more sugar and no taste, though both are rich, so we should not be have too much of either. All right. Mike, brand new listener in Madison on WMDX. Thanks, Mike, for tuning us in here in the Mad City. Mike says, I do both, but when you serve toast, it has to be brown or dark brown. Otherwise, it's just warm bread. There should be a fine for people who serve warm bread instead of toast.
I might be with you on that
there's
one.
something to be said for that. You want it to be toasty. Heather Eau Claire, WCFW on Facebook says, I love bread, the band, and the carbs. There really isn't a worse. Maybe a dry, plain white toast is worse, but I like it all. Zombers, what's worse?
White bread. I'm a big fan of the flavors of wheat bread, especially if you got seeds in there. I love that.
See, I don't like too many seeds, but I like here in Madison, a Clausen's, I think it's country or like French country cracked.
That is good bread, yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Although I will say there's a cause for like white bread for French toast or something like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I would say white is worse. All right, there's nothing worse about Kelly Cole and Sean Hanish and their film, Just a Bit Outside. We'll talk to them after this. Farm News is next with Pam Yankee. You're listening to the Civic Media Radio Network. Welcome back to the Town Hall Ball Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on this Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. If that music sounds familiar, it might be because you're a fan of Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers. Not just a great visual film, but the music, the vibes about it, it takes you right back to 1982 for those of us who are old enough to remember that. And in my opinion, as someone who lived through 82, I haven't felt vibes like this for the Brewers since then, and it's a special season today. And if you have not seen Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers, I ran into somebody, by the way, this weekend who the film came up, and they said, I just haven't had time yet. All right, no more excuses, because tonight, ladies and gentlemen, across Wisconsin, you can see it for free. And here to tell us all about it and to talk about the film are friends of the program, Sean Hanish and Kelly Call, the director, producer, and producer of Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers. Sean, Kelly, welcome back to the program. Thanks for being here.
Great to be here, Todd.
It's always fun. Guys, lots to catch up on, but let's make sure we get to it, because I want to make this is really the thrust for you guys coming back on today, is we got this release that the movie is going to be shown tonight. And for those who don't know or don't follow the Brewers every day, first of all, what's wrong with you? But I got to get this quick plug out. You can listen, turn down the television and listen to it on the radio. The Brewers taking on the Texas Rangers tonight at 6:30 for the pregame show on the radio side. First pitch at 7 o'clock. You can hear it on WRCE in Richland Center, WISS in Oshkosh, WRJN Racine, Kenosha, and WCQ in Park Falls, and WBZH in Hayward, our Brewers affiliates here at Civic Media. But guys, this doesn't happen very often now with all the different rights and everything, but Sean, it's going to be shown tonight on several broadcast stations, the FanDuel feed, correct?
It is, yes. We were just thrilled when our friends at Good Karma came and said, hey, we want to put this across the state in actual, like, over-the-air free TV broadcast, which, I mean, it's amazing. You know, to think that people can now just turn on their television, check their local listings, turn on their television, and within this week and next week, you're going to be able to actually watch the film on TV, No need to go to the theater, no need to worry about an app. It's right there for you.
And Kelly, you're former president of CBS Entertainment, of course. You know how these things work better than anyone else. How did you guys come upon this and make this happen? And before you answer that, we give you folks in the station. We'll come back to it. And in Milwaukee, for those listening on our station, WAUK in Milwaukee, you can see it on CBS 58. That's WMLW. For our friends here in Madison that listen to us on WMDX, you can watch it on Channel 3000, WISC TV, or TVW. In Wausau, WSAW. In Green Bay, WGBA and WACY. And in La Crosse, WKBT. Kelly, how does this happen that you guys got this film on broadcast television in Wisconsin?
Well, I think we start first with a disclaimer, which, as they say, check your local listings, because they are not all airing at once. The one we know tonight is TV Wisconsin out of Madison, which is a part of WISC, but I believe it's channel 3.2 tonight.
Correct.
And they're airing the game, and it's right on after the game. We know we are on WMLW tomorrow. In Milwaukee, I think that's at 6:30, and the rest of the state will kind of come up when it comes up. To be honest, we had a couple stations approach us and asked us, "Hey, we saw your movie. How can we air it?" And as opposed to us going from station to station to station, we reached out to the good people at Good Karma and said, "You already have a Brewers contact with several TV stations. Would it be possible to work together to essentially help clear us throughout this, all over the state versus us going one by one by one?" They jumped right on it. And the other kind of interesting twist here, they came back and asked, what if we air it on some of our Good Karma radio stations? And we were kind of like, okay, I guess. And then, Sean and I went in and kind of closed our eyes and listened, and it was like, it kind of works on the radio too. So we'll see.
I'm excited about this, and like I said, I know Civic, we here have some of these Brewer affiliates as well, and I'm hoping at some point we could get it on those stations across Wisconsin as well. But just to reiterate, for people listening to our show now in Madison, and also to be for our listeners on WRCE in Richland Center, they also get Channel 3 here out of Madison. If you have the old rabbit ears, go to, as Kelly said, it's 3.2 digitally, or if you have like YouTube or DirecTV, it's TVW on there, so you can watch it either way. Sean, tell us a little bit about the excitement in the air around this film. I mentioned I'm getting all the vibes I got from 82, but then you add in the celebration of life for Bob Uecker recently, and I know you guys were asked to put together the video for the in-stadium presentations.
Well, I mean, I think this whole past year has been all things Brewers, certainly for us. I mean, releasing this movie in theaters last fall during, that great run to the playoffs. And then, obviously listen with Bob Uecker passing and all of the outpouring of love and affection from the community and frankly from around the country. I believe, again, it's all things Brewers. Kelly and I were really given the honor of creating the films for the Bob Uecker Celebration of Life, both the private one back in April and also the public one that was a couple weekends ago in Milwaukee at American Family Field. I mean, that was a real honor. I think, certainly for me, it's one of the greatest honors that you can have, as somebody who puts together films and narrative, to say, would you put together the story of Bob Uecker? I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah.
I know I was floating for about 5 minutes, and then I was like, oh my God, that's a real responsibility. And, Kelly and I...
We have to do this, and it has to be great. It's
right.
like, you can't, this is one you can't phone in.
Right.
Yeah. And we put we're on a deadline, but we put our heads down, and with our team of editors and composers, I couldn't be prouder of what we put together. And in the stadium, it was a really spectacular and special day to hear people, 42. Have you ever heard 42,000 people laughing at the same time? I haven't.
No.
And then have you ever heard a pin drop with 42,000 people? It was an incredibly special day, and it was just so thrilled to be a part of it. But but going back to the season, I personally haven't felt Brewers energy like this since 82. Mm-hmm. we've had good seasons. 2018 was a really good season. We made the NLCS. Team Streak was a really fun season, but no season like this. And I think there were a lot of similarities between Harvey Keene and Murph.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities between a guy like Robin Yount and Christian Yelich. I think, but most of all, the palpable excitement for going to the stadium or turning on the game right now, it's at a fever pitch.
Yeah, it really. We have earlier in the show, and you guys will appreciate this. One of the great things about live broadcasting, we had a guy listening to the show earlier named Manuel, who is one of the engineers on Apple Plus TV. And he happened to be, and he called in, and we talked to him last hour, and was talking about the fact that Pat Murphy was the one that came up with the whole pocket pancake idea and quesadilla. And this guy Manuel, he brought the maple syrup to last week's game out in Pittsburgh on Friday for Murphy to use on the air. So I mean, this thing is just infectious. It doesn't matter who you are, and it's so much fun right now.
Oh. I mean, it really is. I mean, listen, the pocket pancake is epic,
right?
But also the Brewers. Let's be honest, the Brewers haven't missed a beat, either in the front office or with the organization. I mean, that amazing home run derby they had at the end of July. I mean, the team is great on the field, and the way that the organization is handling everything off the field. I mean, I count my lucky stars that I'm a Brewers fan this year.
Yeah, we're talking with Sean Hanisch and Kelly Call, the director, producer, and producer, respectively, of Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers. You can see it if you're listening to us in Madison or Richland Center on the CBS affiliate, at least their secondary channel, TVW. That's 3.2 digitally after the Brewers game tonight, which is going to be shown for free on that channel, and more stations, as they say, to come. I want to ask you both this. Start with Kelly and then to Sean. Sean, well, I'll preface it for those that don't know. Sean founded a company called Cannonball Productions. You've worked with people like Minnie Driver. And let's start with Kelly. As former president of CBS, you worked with some of the biggest names in entertainment, Kelly, in your time at CBS. But what was it like for both of you to have the honor to do this work for Bob Uecker, someone who is a childhood legend, and you guys, as Wisconsinites, got to do this and you got Bob Costas there, a huge name in broadcasting. Al Michaels, I know, is around. What was it like, from your standpoint, that working from the biggest names in the industry to this, Kelly?
I think just you have to set aside wanting to kind of pinch yourself that, hey, I'm with this person, and remind yourself at the same time, we have a job to do. And I'll share this with especially about the Uecker interview. Bob had been on the Tonight Show, 100 times or whatever, and Bob kind of would lock into these kind of stories about his life. And we had to kind of keep pulling Bob. We only had limited time. We had to kind of keep pulling him back to 82, like, Bob, that's great. 82. And we got done, and we looked at each other and we said, well, okay, we got what we needed. It was a little rambling, but we got what we needed. And then when the Brewers called and said, asked us to do these videos, the first thing we did was went back and, looked at this interview we had done. And I guess without us realizing it, and I'm not like super spiritual or anything, but Bob handed us the story of his life on a silver platter in his own words. And, people were like, how did you get all this? And it was like, we just interviewed him, and we had kind of one of the last interviews with him, but he gave us everything we needed to kind of do this assignment. And, whether he knew it or not, I don't know, but there was a little bit of kismet and magic.
Aaron Zomers, our great producer, has something queued up here. I know that what was shown in AmFam Field, or what we might have seen on FanDuel, might have been a little different, but I know this is you guys' stuff, because here's part of that interview that's in Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Brewers, and Sean and Kelly's one of their last interviews with Bob Uecker. This is from the Celebration of Life.
After winning out in the National League race by a nose, the St. Louis Cardinals take on the Yankees in the World Series.
Johnny Keane informed the coaching staff that I would not play in the World Series because of that incident where I picked the tuba up and was walking around. They had 3 Dixieland bands on the field playing prior to the World Series. And Roger Craig was standing alongside of me. And the band that was playing in left field put their instruments down. So there's a tuba laying up against near the bullpen. So Roger says, "You go put that on."
So I grabbed this guy's tuba, and I was catching fly balls.
I dented it. First, I tried to get a trumpet on, and that was too small.
That's a little bit of Euchre's story there from the Celebration of Life. We're talking with Sean Hanisch and Kelly Call of the film Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers. Got to do a little business, but we'll come back, talk about how you can see the film tonight for free across parts of Wisconsin, and more about the film as the All Ball Show across Wisconsin on Civic Media.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Welcome back to the Todd All Ball Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 8 minutes now before the hour of 4 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to. A check of weather. I'll tell you what it is. Beautiful in Wisconsin today. And then our great sports reporter, Mike Clemens, on the latest from Lambeau Field to get ready to take on the Washington Commanders on Thursday. And, of course, the Brewers playing tonight down in Arlington against the Rangers. Time for the radio broadcast pregame show, 6:30, first pitch just after 7 o'clock. You can also watch it on select stations across the state of Wisconsin, our broadcast, as Letterman used to say. I hope one of your stations has been selected. And then stick around for Just a Bit Outside, this story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers being shown here in the Madison CBS affiliate TVW 3.2 on the digital dial, or TVW on places like YouTube and DirecTV. Guys, Brewers, a weird game last night. The Crew dropped 5-0 to Texas, but I feel like they're due for a comeback to lead into the show tonight, or into the movie tonight. Sean, what was it like? The question I gave to Kelly before the break there. You've worked with some of the biggest names in Hollywood. What was it like doing this Euchre tribute for the Celebration of Life?
Honestly, I felt more pressure doing this Euchre tribute than I felt during almost any project in my life. Mm-hmm. Only because he's so well known and so well loved that, as I said, for a few minutes after we were asked to do this, my feet weren't touching the ground. I was floating. The honor was so, honestly, so profound. But then it was kind of like, oh, and by the way, you really can't screw this up. I mean, yeah. There's a lot of, everybody loves Uke. So, I think both Kelly and I were like, okay, we really needed a good approach. And I one of the things I'm proudest that we came up with was the idea of telling his life story in 4 bases.
Yeah, that was really cool.
We did it. Thanks. That just having a structure like that to be able to talk, because he lived such a big life. His life it sprawls. It's Hollywood, it's broadcasting, it's a member of the community, it's his charitable work. Anyway, I think that helped me get my head around, being able to tell the story of such an incredible life. And, I think we did it in about 25 minutes.
Yeah, it was incredible. Quick.
Go ahead, Todd.
Quick programming note. Sean's going to be on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba tonight as well. So big demand. Kelly, go ahead.
The pressure was there, but the payoff at the end was Bob Costas, Al Michaels, members of the Brewer staff, and Bob's son and family coming up to us afterwards, and either handshakes or hugs, and the compliments of "you got it, you got him, you showed him in a true manner to all the people here," and that I don't think that'll ever go away.
I think that's super cool, because having gotten to know you guys a little bit over the last couple of years, I know what reverence you have for people in the industry. Even though for me, you guys are huge names in the industry, I look up to you. But to have people like Al Michaels, Bob Costas tell you guys you nailed it, that has to be better than any award you've ever gotten.
Without a doubt. I mean, when you have somebody's family come up to you and say thank you, that was perfect. you can't do anymore. I mean, that was really the goal, was to honor the man and honor his life. And then, when Bob Costas is like, basically comes up to him and says, you guys are the backbone of this entire celebration.
Wow.
What you've done it's humbling, frankly, because when we sat there in the audience of for the private event, there were 1,000 people there. And Kelly and I beforehand said, of the 1,000 people, you and I have spent the least amount of time with Euchre of those 1,000.
Wow.
But we have to make a film that shows that, we really, really understand, appreciate, and love this man and all that he's done. So
a huge honor. So well done. I want to read you guys this quick. This comes from our listener, Jane, in Madison, listening on WMDX this afternoon. She writes this: I saw the movie just a bit outside in theaters last year, and it led directly to a new interest in Brewer baseball this summer. And what a year to adopt that team. Enjoyed the film very much and recommended it to others. It taught me that winning isn't always everything, but the journey can be. Thank you. I mean, wow, Kelly, what do you want?
I got nothing to say. Thank you. Thank her. I think Sean and I are dancing around the same thing. That's what it's all about. The feedback we've gotten both from the film and the these Euchre videos. That's why we do this. And it's, words can be really powerful, and we've heard some powerful words from people.
30 seconds each. What's the thing that you've seen recently, and all the times you've seen it, that you're seeing new and that people can watch it for free tonight? Sean?
I mean, I think, one of my favorite parts of the film is actually when Ted Simmons and Pete Vukovich talk about pitching. There's a section in there where they talk about how to get hitters out that I could watch on a loop for the rest of my life. It's so inside baseball, but articulated so clearly that I think anybody walks out of the film, but that particular section, understanding a bit more about the game. So there's always a gem in there that I find that I look at as if it's for the first time.
Kelly, call 25 seconds.
I don't know that I see anything new, but emotionally I will catch or tear up in a different spot every time I watch it. And it could be the Gorman saying, I thank the Lord I played here. It could be the woman saying, hello, American League champion Brewers. Every time something new gets me.
If you listen to us in Madison or Richland Center, you can watch the film Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers, for free after the Brewer game tonight on TVW 3.2. Other places, Milwaukee, Wausau, Green Bay, La Crosse. Stay tuned. We'll tell you, pass it on here when it becomes available. It's coming to you. Kelly Call, Sean Hanish, thank you so much for taking time. It means the world to us. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Todd.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.